Good morning. Hopefully everybody's having a wonderful week so far. We are doing our live, Facebook Live, Instagram Live platforms and giving you guys value. And then you guys be able to see what we're doing here. Just a quick reminder that we will be having our seminars this week. We'll be having our English seminar and the self-image, how to improve your self-image, how to develop the self-image that's going to take you to the winner's edge, right? And we'll be having that in English on Thursday, and Wednesday, tomorrow, we'll be having our Spanish seminar. So you guys have the opportunity to be here live or purchase it and be on Zoom. We'll be live streaming that. Give me 1 second here and open this up. Closed on me. We'll also be doing our Spanish next month in Peru. And doing a live workshop over there as well. So we got a lot of exciting things coming up. You guys have the opportunity right now to come in here and see this live. And I suggest doing that. And the reason why is because when you're here live, you get to experience the energy's different, the atmosphere is different. The chances are you wouldn't have been here. Why? Because this information is for high performers, people that really want to grow, want to win, want to develop themselves, want to go beyond. This information changed my life, changed the lives of many other people that have taken these programs, and it continues to do so. And this is what you do whenever you want to go beyond what you know how to do. You invest in yourself. You develop yourself. See if I can get this going here. All month we've been going over the image, the self-image, and it's holding you back. That's the truth. Your self-image is holding you back from doing so much more. Our self-image needs to continually be upgraded. Our self-image needs to be continually developed. And when we continually upgrade and develop our self-image, that means we're setting goals, we're achieving goals. We are learning more about ourselves. We are developing ourselves. We are looking at the area of life that we want to develop ourselves, and we're improving it every day. We're taking actions to go beyond what we know how to do. We're setting goals. And as we hit those goals, we're setting another goal. And to some of you, this may seem awkward and abnormal, but that's why the people that are highly successful or that are achieving great things is because they're continually advancing their self-image. They're continually developing themselves to become much more. They never really taught us that. They taught us to go to school, learn from them, do as they do, and do it one time. We were never supposed to stop learning. We were supposed to go to school, learn from others, get a better understanding from others, go to college, university, really start with why you're there, what is it you really want, so that you can be doing things on purpose. Develop yourself from there. Once you acquire the degree, continue developing yourself. Some of you did. You went to as far as a doctorate, but that wasn't it. That was just a line in the sand. Where are you going from there? Because life doesn't stop. Life is a continual growing process. Our job is to continually grow with the process called life. And that's the continual adaptation of the developing your consciousness to beyond what you know how to do. The average individual develops themselves to a certain degree, and then they stop. The majority of people will reason away their gift, their success. There comes a point where you've done that. Everybody has done it. I've done it. There comes a point in life where you reason away the gift, and the gift was creative imagination. What more do you want? They reason away their gift, not because they can't do more, because they don't know how to do more. And they go as far as their logic, their intelligence can take them, and the majority of people stop there, they conform. And that's not living, and you know it. You're not living whenever you're stuck. You're not living when you're desiring to have more, to be more, to achieve more. You're not living when you can't get up and become more. You conform. And conformity is the death of people. The act of desiring more is a pulsation. The act of desiring more is a pulsation. It's a God-given right. The act of desiring more is your spiritual DNA, your spiritual consciousness saying, there's so much more in me. The act of desiring more, that pulsation is infinite intelligence, knowing it's limitless. It's connection, direct connection to universal intelligence, to its God-given right to keep expressing and growing and developing itself. We have the act of desiring what we hear, see, taste, touch, smell. But that's conditions and circumstances. That's where we live from. Every now and then you'll find somebody that's inspired, that's courageous, that want and desire more than what they can hear, they can see, they can touch, and they can smell. That desire takes them beyond the senses and opens up their life, their light to the world, to the advancements of what we see today. Every now and then you'll see somebody going beyond what people know. And that individual is looked upon as genius, as beyond their time. They're correct. They were beyond their time because their vision was beyond what you could hear, see, taste, touch, and smell. Their vision was beyond the senses. Their vision was beyond what everybody could see, what they could hear, what they could touch, what they could smell. And that individual was living. That individual brought something new to the world. Why? Because they chose to. Isn't that amazing? Why? Because they chose to. What was different in them? Their desire. A burning desire for fulfillment. That was the difference. The difference in that 1, 2, 3% that are way different than the 97% of humanity that are doing things completely different. The difference is in desire. The difference is in wanting to know more beyond the senses. It's not an odd reason that they say 3% rule the 97%. It wasn't because the 97% couldn't. They didn't desire more. That's really amazed me. I've traveled the world. And it's fair to true. I look at the statistics, and I research and I study, and I want you to do it. I want you to never take anything I say. Go look it up. I want you to. Because the more you look it up, the more you'll know what I'm saying is truth. And that it's very odd and peculiar that everybody conforms. And they really don't stretch. And they more or less stay the same. When the desire is beyond your self-image, most people cease. Really ask yourself, why have you stopped? Really analyze what's kept you where you're at. Because when the desire is bigger than your self-image, the average individual ceases. And it's true. Go look around. Ask them why they stopped growing. Ask them why they stopped developing. Ask them what made them stop growing. What is it that held you back from becoming so much more? The majority of them don't even know. Do you know that we're the only ones that we know today that can regulate ourselves to stop growing? Stop expressing more? Stop thinking? But it's very normal to conform. It's very normal to align yourself with people that conform. And it's very normal for you to align yourself with your old self-image. What do you want? What do you really want? What is it you really desire? If you could be anything and do anything and have anything, what would you do? I'm going to ask you that again. If you could be anything, have anything, do anything, what would you do? What would you be doing right now? The truth of the matter is, you could have always been anything. You could have always done anything. Why haven't you done it? Because there's an image cloaked right into your subconscious mind. And every time you try to get by it, it resists change. It resists being changed. Now, the programs that we teach in these classrooms teach people how to change that, how to do it successfully. The people that have come and gone through the classes have achieved better results. Some of them have stayed. The people that stay in the classes are the ones that keep growing. You are never supposed to stop. Somewhere along the line, you stop believing in yourself. Again, and again, and again, and again. Somewhere along the line, we stop believing in ourselves again, and again, and all over again. That is the self-image. That idea is controlling your future. We are worthy of so much more. We are worthy to live the life that we truly desire. Desire is a prerequisite to all things. It's the preamble to what we call success. What's been controlling your desire? What ideas are controlling how far you stretch, how far you perform? We're performers, and we're in an act And we are acting all day like somebody, like something. And that self-image is controlling the distance. How do you change it? You've got to be studying the right information. You've got to be learning the right information. And then you've got to be acting out the right information. You see, that most of us were programmed to do as they do, which is 97%. And go look at why people stay within the confines of the 97%. Go look at why people that live in the confines of the 96, 97% never break out. Go look at how much they earn. You can extend that research around the world. And you're going to see that the amount of money that they earn stays within that 96, 97% window. What idea is holding you back? What idea has positioned you in that position? What idea for how many years has held you hostage and you're not even aware? We research, but we don't learn how to change. We research and we study, but we do not change. Why? Because the knowledge that you're researching and studying stays at the learning, the I know position in your brain. That's why you don't do it. Because we're used to being trained for memory. And we think that that's called knowing. We think that that's locked in. But it's not. You see, whenever we go to school, they taught us memory. But memory is solely the observation of facts at a distance. You may get good enough to even talk about it, and you think you know it. But you don't know a thing until you can express that in actions. That's when you really figure out whether you know what you're talking about. The only individual that knows what he's talking about is the individual that is acting out the knowledge in actions. And if you can't act it out, you don't know the information. You know about it. You see, we store information into our subconscious mind. You could say into this filing cabinet. We store information in levels. And there's a big box that's called your doing box. And you see, that is what controls how you perform in action. That dictates what information you're going to actually act out. Now begin to look at your life. Now look at the car. Look at the house. Look at the things inside the house. Now look at your environment. The only thing that you have is what you acted upon. All the memory you have stored in that mind of yours, majority of it is to remember about it at a distance. That's why you can't have it. To think about it at a distance. It's not for you, it's for them. It's for somebody else that was willing to act it out. The memory you received, majority of it, is not for you to experience outside yourself. It was stored into your brain solely for the record of memory. And then some of you developed that beyond to talk about it. So this group information was stored for memory about it at a distance, to talk about it, but never to do it. There is a part of your brain that is programmed for doing. Now look at your life. Really take a good look at it. The only thing that you have right now is what you've done. You see, they didn't teach you this in school. They didn't tell you how much, it didn't matter how much you study. If you study this book and you got it memorized, you got it 1D, you continue to study that book, you get it 2D, two-dimensionally. But it's on the paper, it's not in you. You get it in you, it's still flat, it's 2D. This doesn't become reality until you can act it out. You were never supposed to turn the page until you could do what the page tells you to do. And that's the misunderstanding. Superior knowledge, inferior results. If the teachers understood this, the school wouldn't be able to afford them. Superior knowledge, inferior results. They didn't know that if they don't put this information into the lowest part of their brain, which is the physical body, act it out. That's why we have people in universities that get paid to teach, not do. Because if they could do it, they couldn't afford them. There's a big difference in knowing and doing. This is why you know better, but you're not getting better results. Because what you know and do are far apart. Why have I been studying this for this many years? Because it's been changing my life. Why do I keep studying it? Because I keep changing my life with it. Why have I dedicated myself to developing myself? Because nobody was going to do it for me. Why have I given myself to and dedicated myself to advancing other people? Because I know they're worthy of it. Because I know all men, all women are worthy of the change. And they deserve it. The question is when are you going to believe it? When are you going to believe it enough to act on it? Again, knowing and doing. How many times are you going to look at this information and not act on it? Again, doing. Because you weren't programmed to change yourself. You were not programmed to keep changing yourself. We were taught to memorize and take a grade on it. But life will not grade you on what you know. Life grades you on what you do. Life will grade you on what you do, on the doing part of your personality. When we set a goal, we release it in actions. You don't get it by wishing about it, on it. You are a higher performer expressing little ideas. We are a higher degree of consciousness, but majority of us are expressing small performances. What ideas are you using? What ideas are using you? And what idea could you get? What idea could you express? What idea is locked up inside of you that you want to express? I'm going to play a couple of minutes of this video, give you guys a little bit of value. Bob was one of my mentors. I went to work with him because I wanted to learn how to teach like he did. I wanted to learn from the best. And at the time, he was one of the best in personal development. He went and studied for many years with other people that were the best in their field. Give you guys a little bit of value. You get to see what we're talking about and get a better understanding of what it is that you need to change in you.
Done. Let's look at that. Hold on a minute. What does assumption mean? And you
get this back here.
Station on the.
What Bob is writing here is the stick person. This is how we get a better idea of how the mind works.
Now, we spend a lot of time thinking about this. If you were expecting something, you expect it here on a conscious level. You would expect it here on a subconscious level, and that would put you into the vibration that you have to be in to attract everything that's required for the manifestation on the physical plane and results. That would be the way it is. Now, here is the hooker in this. Look. We can get it so that we expect it here, and there's trouble in River City here, Tommy. What do you think? Where's Tommy?
I agree, Bob.
You agree with that, Mikey?
Yeah.
See, that's where our dilemma is. Now, just set that down for a bit, Scott. Mikey, when we're talking about this effortless way, what we're talking about here is assumption, and you just assume it. That would make it real, definite, and final, already done. Let's look at that. Hold on a minute. What does assumption mean?
A thing that is accepted as true or is certain to happen without proof. Do you want to hear the next one?
No, that's fine. It's certain to happen without proof. The proof comes in the understanding. This is precisely why Solomon said, in all you're getting, get understanding. Now, really think about this for a moment. We're tying in expect an abundance. Let's look at the first paragraph, just the first paragraph here. The mind is a powerful magnet and as such attracts to whatever corresponds to its ruling state. Expectation dictates what that ruling state will be and therefore governs what corresponds to the mind and is attracted into your life. Expectation can be either a blessing or a curse. But either way, it's certainly one of the most powerful unseen forces in your life. Now, if a person's expecting more, they're going to get more. Yet not everyone is getting more this year than they were last year. With some people, it's going on a downward trend. It's not going up where they want it to go. And why isn't it? Well, let's put that stick person up there again, Scott. Look at this for a moment. Here we are here, are thinking, feeling, acting. And outside here, in our outside world, we are getting inundated with negative information. Now, we're trying to stay positive here in our consciousness. We're getting inundated every day. We're hearing about how many more hundreds of people have died. how a car turned over on the highway and all kinds of people killed. That was just on my phone when I picked it up this morning. That's very negative information is hitting us. So how do we keep ourselves on the positive track when we have been programmed pretty well to live through our senses, although we know that that's not the right way to go? Expect an abundance. Are you expecting an increase in your income? If your answer to that question is how much do you expect, or what are you doing to increase the income? See, if we expect it, we're doing something that's going to cause it to happen. I don't believe a person can actually expect better results when they're not following through with action. It isn't going to happen. You're not going to see that. If you expect better results, you're going to follow through. And I called Arash on Sunday evening, actually. I just had a feeling that there's something really big that we're supposed to be doing. Something big's coming. And I phoned Arash, and he told me he was thinking exactly the same way. But we really couldn't nail it. We couldn't put our finger on it. Now, I think you have to have that kind of an attitude. You have to be in that kind of a vibration if you're really going to make things happen. And there's no point in saying you expect it when you're doing the same things. If you're doing the same things, you really don't expect it. Now let's take a look at this effortless way, because I think this ties in to the expectation lesson. You see, this lesson, I wrote this in 1984. 84. Now, we filmed it in 88, but it was in...
So what we're looking at here is consciousness, and we're doing it all the time. He's talking about a movement, a going beyond, achieving beyond, but there's something locked up inside of you, controlling your behavior, and we miss it because we really don't look at ourselves. You really don't. You look at the person in the mirror, but you really don't analyze why the person in the mirror thinks the way it thinks. You look at yourself in the mirror, but you really don't decide that you're going to change the person that's inside that body. And because you never really make a decision that you're going to change the thoughts, or you're going to change the person that's actually thinking through that body, nothing ever changes. That's the problem. It's not that you can't have more. You haven't decided that you're going to change yourself. A decision has to be made, a committed decision. A lot of times, really, an understanding needs to be there to make a decision. An understanding that a comprehension of the way you work and the way you think. Most people see themselves as they are, and they don't like it, but they don't do anything about it. Majority of people see themselves as they are, and they don't like it, but they don't change it. And the year stays the same. The months stay the same. The weeks stay the same. And then we do it all over again. We're coming to the end of the year again so that people can act like they're going to make a decision and never do it. And if they make decisions, a small little decision, and never was a decision, they end up going back to the way they were. Why? Because they didn't understand that you don't have a choice. You see, when we look at this bottom part of the stick person, we're looking at the subconscious mind. And inside of the subconscious mind, when you look at this, there's a box. And the most interesting thing is that you think from that box is thinking. When you think, this is the mind. The mind is perpetual transmutation of thought energy, and it never stops. It never stops humming, it never stops vibrating. The minute you came in at zero, it started to take on all of the ideas that were going on around it. It started to hear, see, taste, touch, and smell, and it started to take on all of that as truth. And where'd it go? Right into you. So whatever was happening around them, him, her, the environment, went straight into you. And now, when we say this word, this is your conscious mind, the intellect. This is your intellect. When you think, you're directly hooked up. And you're just accessing those files of information. And as you continue to think, that information is going straight down into your body to tell it what to do. The higher side of me you'll never see. The scientists know that this higher side, the minute it disconnects from the body goes back to earth, goes back to dust. They can't really tell you where that energy goes. I call it spirit, soul. I believe it goes back home where it came from. Where do all the bodies go back? Home, where they came from, earth. But as you think, you're just picking up these files. So that means this whole time, as you're thinking, you're picking up stored. I never want you to see this word the same way again. Information. That's what you're doing. It's information, but it's the stored information, and that is thinking. Clearly understand, thinking sets up a vibration in the body, and the body feels this energy. And this energy is perpetually moving through space and time. And it's directly hooked up to it. The physical world, as you see it, it's what surrounds you. But what you miss is that you have attracted everything in your physical world. What you miss the decisions or indecision we'll just say our decisions. Whether you choose or you don't choose, they are decisions. Choices that you've made. Since the beginning of time, 0 to 5, you were programmed with the beliefs of the era, the beliefs of the time. This is your life. The question is, who's been living it? Have you developed yourself since you were born? Of course you have. From the minute of conception, you started to develop yourself with everything that was going around your family. You got their DNA, direct program. That's why you look like them. Then you got the environmental programming. And that's what you like what they like. You got your options from everyone around you at that time. You began to think like them, walk like them, act like them. And then you started to compound interest of other people's ideas along the way. But 0 to 5 was the originating, you could say, documents that you would work from. That's why it's so hard for people to get outside of themselves in the future. This image was developed, and it's inside of you. And this image is what you have to change. Why have you not desired more? You have. But when it's so far beyond what you know, you normally reject it because you're going beyond what you know. Could you have gone further? Could you still go further? Yes, you can. But the average individual will not. Because every time you start to go beyond what you know, this intelligence gets scared. And this intelligence is what's thinking. But this intelligence is getting its feedback from itself. Could we have more? Could we do more? Yes. Why haven't you done it? Majority of the people didn't know. They only do what they believe they can do. They only do what they know how to do. And the average individual will not go further than what they know or what they think is possible. Somewhere along the line, you stop believing in you. Somewhere along the line, I stopped believing in me. And I stopped doing that. And I've been continually working on myself. You see, when I learned that anything was possible, the day I learned that anything was possible, I started to change myself. The day I learned that anything was possible, I started to work on myself and changing myself. You want to change? You've got to start changing yourself. I can go back today and go find people. Every ladder I took on that I broke, every ladder that I was breaking, of my own program, my own beliefs, that's what you're doing. Every time you're breaking and you're changing beliefs about yourself, you're going beyond what you would have ever done. And you're becoming somebody new. I can literally go back today and I can find the people that stayed there. I can literally go back today. And this is normal. There's nothing wrong with you. Totally normal. Nothing wrong with you. Do you know what's not normal? Believing that it's possible. I can go back every step of the way, and I've left people. I left them because I chose to change myself. I didn't want to stay there. I left. How did I leave? I kept changing myself. I kept working on me. Why did they stay? They stopped developing themselves. They stopped changing themselves. I can go back and find people from where I started, 18, 19 years old. I can still find people in the tire business. Majority of them retired. Some of them went a little bit further. And they went and found another job, learned another skill. And they stayed around there. Another skill. I found another skill too, but I never stopped. I never stopped just developing myself to develop another skill. You see, somewhere along the line, we stopped developing ourselves. How is it that I've accomplished what I've accomplished? I never stopped. I never stopped changing myself. And this is totally normal. If you've gotten stuck and you stop changing yourself, you've got a completely normal human brain. What is not normal and what is uncommon is to continue to change yourself beyond, like I've done. This is not normal. This is uncommon, and that's why very few people do it. I continued. The average individual stretches a little bit beyond. The average individual may change 10, 15. Look at this. This is the line right here. You see this? That line right there is normally people will stretch, and they stretch maybe one more time, and they get up to here. But it's rare that you find anybody continually changing themselves. When people stretch, they say the average generation stretches 10, 15% of what they were programmed to do. Their whole life. The average individual changes. Average individual changes 10 to 15%, maybe 20. Here it is. This is your options. 15, 20%, we're stretching you. And they stop developing themselves. Their whole life is gone. I can go find people, tires, mechanics. Maybe they made it to foreman. Chances are not very many. It's very rare you find somebody continually changing themselves. I can go back and find these people, and they stayed in the same spot. I kept working on me. Everybody's talking about this law of vibration and attraction. Attraction is a secondary law. I kept working on the vibration, my self-image. The energy in me is making me do what I do. The energy in me is making me do what I do. The energy in you right now is making you do as you do. It's making you think as you think. It's not that you can't do more. You don't have the right information. It's not that you can't have more. Your self-image doesn't know how to give more. It wasn't supposed to. The average individual just stays doing what they believe is possible. That's normal. And if you're not normal and you're tired of being normal and you want to change yourself, we got the programs that'll do it for you. I enjoy helping people. I love helping people. I like to see them grow. I like to see them accomplish and achieve. Because when you change, you not only change your life, you change the people's lives around you. And that's what it's about. Take a look at what we're doing. Again, in English, Thursday, we've got a class. You can be here live. Send me a message. Send me a message. Bet on you. Change yourself. Everyone have a wonderful day.